Hi, this is Sensaria, and welcome to the Share It Today show. Wouldn't you like to know your rights as a U.S. citizen before a conviction? Well, we'll share it with you when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome to the Share It Today show. Daniel Ambrose with Ambrose Law Group to share with us on our topic, knowing your rights as a citizen before a conviction. We want to talk about giving and sharing some of the rights that people should know before they even, come up against a conviction, or perhaps one of their family members are getting ready to prepare for court and they did something and they don't know the law. My concern and the importance, I think, for people knowing their rights and knowing the law is to know what to expect, okay? So it's not about, we don't want them to feel like they can't suffer any consequences. If you're wrong and you've done wrong, there's consequences behind that. But at least let's share with them their rights. Let's start with, first of all, talking about some of the amendments that has been amended to the Constitution. A lot of people don't know that. The first 10 constitutional amendments is actually the Bill of Rights, but let's talk about it as it pertains to criminal and convictions.
Okay. Well, specifically, which parts would you like to talk about?
Let's talk about some amendments that you are aware of, drunk driving, DUIs, drugs, anything that someone should know that has been amended from the original law in those areas.
All right. Well, the most important amendment to the Constitution that gives everybody protection would be the Fifth Amendment, which is a right against self-incrimination. Because if the police are investigating you and are asking you questions, if they suspect you've done something wrong, it's not a good idea to speak to the police without a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Because there's several reasons. One is you can never talk yourself out of being arrested. Number two is if you talk to the police, you're simply relying on their memories. And sometimes their memories aren't very good, especially if they already believe you're guilty. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so there's really nothing to be gained by speaking to them. Mm. That's the most important thing to remember. Mm-hmm. And to get a lawyer as fast as you can. Okay. Because if you have a lawyer, that's going to protect you from saying things that could be misunderstood, and they can advise you correctly on how to navigate the legal process. Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the amendments? I mean, that you should get an attorney first, not speak to anyone until you get an attorney?
Well, the Sixth Amendment talks about, the right to counsel. And actually it was a Supreme Court case back probably about 30 years ago. I think the name of the case was Gideon versus Wainwright, mm-hmm. which the Supreme Court of the United States guaranteed a person the right to an attorney at public expense if they could not afford one, if they're accused of a crime. And because they recognize that a person cannot defend themselves in a court. Yeah. And if they don't have a lawyer, they are absolutely out of luck.
Let's talk about that since you mentioned public service. Public service as far as attorney that would actually represent someone in a case that cannot afford their own attorney. Do you believe that they are represented fairly because they are appointed by a court?
Typically not. Typically, court-appointed lawyers, especially in Michigan, is probably one of the very worst systems in the country, mm-hmm. are so grossly underpaid because Michigan doesn't have, especially around here, Oakland County, Macomb County, even Wayne County, mm-hmm. don't have a public defender system, where many other states have public defenders, which are organizations that are paid for by the government, just like the prosecutor's office, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and they're attorneys that are compensated just like the prosecutors are and have investigators, mm-hmm. and so they can gather evidence. The court-appointed system around here is terrible because it pays so little.
So that means because you're getting paid so little, you may not have me at my best interest, correct? You may actually have the court system at its best interest versus me.
Well, when you say you, I know you're not talking about me.
And I'm not talking about me personally either, because I haven't been in trouble. But we're talking about those that have went in court and they had to have public defenders. Do they have them at their best interest because they're getting paid so low?
Well, and they don't have any time. I mean, there are some good public defenders, mm-hmm. that do the court-appointed work, but most of them, if you figure if somebody's going to do an entire felony case for $400, obviously they don't have a lot of business and they're not being hired privately. And so to me, that tells me they're not that great of lawyers.
Do one have a choice when they're getting a public defender? Can they say, I don't feel he or she has me or they're defending me at my best interest. How can I switch, or how can the court, appoint me another attorney?
They're not typically able to do that because they're entitled to have an attorney appointed for them, but not any attorney that they select. If you want to select your own attorney, you have to go pay them.
Okay. All right, more on this topic when we come back in a moment.
For more information, contact Share It Today at 877-892-2731 or visit shareitnumber2day.com. Share It Today is another source of outreach for the mission of Virtuous Family Community Services, helping build families for opportunities and advantages. Visit us online at www.vfcs.org or email us at help@vfcs.org. DVDs are available for purchase online at shareitnumber2day.com.